You're all gonna get the bow tie jacket full effect. Which one? This way? Okay, but there's a they already have the presentation. Oh, we're sitting here. Got it. That makes sense. Cool. Get a shot of my bald head. I'm blinding the camera with my bald head. Okay. Well, you made it. We made it. I think we're live. Yes. I think it's actually going to zoom in. You can see the chat, my dear.
Oh, that was for this? Oh. Oh, this is the projector, yeah.
So what's up?
It's just too blue bright.
Oh, turn off the screen. Turn off the lights.
Oh,
okay. Is that
better
better
now?
Yeah. Okay. Can they see us in the screen, or do we look too dark? A little dark. Okay. All right. I think we're too dark for the screen. Like you can't see us. Works. It's a low budget film. All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Mahmoud Faisal Elkhatib. I am the bow tie attorney. Forgive me, I'm sitting down because standing is painful for me because of my back. So yes, I'm making Nish sit down too. And so we're gonna make it kind of like podcast / interactive style. So those of you that are actually live, that would be my mom and the one drunk veteran that's been following me for the last 20 years. That's a true story, actually. If you go to our CAN TV videos on YouTube, you will see CAN TV, Chicago Access Network TV used to have a public TV channel. You'll occasionally hear, I would get phone calls from the same guy on every show asking me questions about his veterans benefits. I'm like, bro, I can't help you. So he's been a loyal, dedicated follower. We thank him. I think he's more loyal than my mother on this one. So we are here. We are talking today about cost segregation. I appreciate your time, appreciate your patience. And we have today Nishay Rawal, which is a CPA. We did an event yesterday. If you saw it, you were lucky. If you missed it, you really missed a great event where we talked about how not to pay 30% of your commission to the IRS. And we went through a series of strategies to help people with that. And one of the things that we talked about was cost segregation, which is huge for real estate investors and people who own real estate as to how to take advantage of one, the bonus depreciation and the cost segregation in your property. So how to find the money sitting in your building. Nish, thanks for joining.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me, guys. So yeah, just ready to get things rolling. So quick survey. I know for the most part, you're in real estate. Didn't get the opportunity to kind of chat with you. So you're real estate focused or real estate adjacent. You know, people that have properties. What's just want to see what we're working with here. Nice.
Oh, congratulations. That's a new change. Yes. When did you make that? I do not know in the group, but I know you. So I know you were not there the last time we talked. How long have you been there?
Oh, nice.
Yes. So definitely you weren't there when I was last time we chatted. Congratulations.
And because I am so tax driven, I love the code. I
Hmm.
love, helping wealthy people that pay you well, and you literally help people. Like even people who don't have much, you'll help them figure out something that they
Yeah,
never thought. So yeah, I'm in taxes and real estate and depreciation is kind of my thing. Called segregating. I like this.
that's awesome.
If I
So,
remember, you do some tax planning, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am getting better and better at it. I'm thinking of going to my EA starting next
Okay.
month. So
Awesome. Very good.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We're only going to talk to two of the 500 people who are in this room. Um, and if anybody says there's less than 500, I must see, my glasses aren't good. So I see doubles, triples, and quadruples. And I see two people, looks like 500. Um, there's more online. Yes, we have more online. And by the way, if you guys have questions online, feel free to jump in. You can drop the question in the chat. We have someone who's monitoring the chat for us. And if you want to just fire out a question, you can just be like, hey, hello, I have a question. So love to hear from you guys. We love a very interactive process because yesterday, for example, I learned a few things that I thought I knew, but I got it refined. So we're always learning from people. And then we luckily had a financial advisor in the group, Freddie
yeah, I don't know the last name.
Naros, something,
Yeah.
Namos.
The slides, the slides. Oh yeah, of course.
Well, hold on. You have to come to the event to get the slides. Well, okay, I guess we can share it with you guys then. No problem. Um, I just like giving you guys grief um, because we want the attendance, we want the interaction, we want the engagement. We gain so much from your knowledge and from your presence. It's not just a one-way street. So yes, we'll be able to share the slides from yesterday, and it was live yesterday as well, so it'll probably be posted somewhere on our social media. So that said, introduce yourself.
My name is Maisa Hajjatian. I am a real estate agent and architect and artist. I enjoy what I'm doing and I'm here to get more knowledge from you guys. Thank you for having us and looking forward to getting more.
Yeah. And you also provide some lovely group events of
Yes,
artistry to help
yes.
people want to tap into that artistic
Yes,
vein of
the
theirs.
campaigns, the coffees, the food, whatever you want. While I am, teaching you art step by step
That's
on
fantastic.
canvas, and the product will be like amazing picture, painting, of course, and yeah, that's what I
If
do.
I did, it'd be like a bunch of stick figures and
No, no,
no.
no. Believe me, you will
You
just
sure?
follow my
Just follow
instructions
your
and
lead
you will
instructions.
enjoy
Okay,
doing that.
fantastic. If anybody wants to introduce themselves, Adnan, I know I saw you there. I saw Brandon, Juan, I saw you as well. If anyone want to introduce yourselves, just feel free to jump in. Going once, going twice, going three times. What's the other one? And that's
Sold. Done.
sold. Okay. All right. So let's go start it.
Beautiful.
Cost
So
segregation.
yeah, just wanna like maybe open it up to see. I know you mentioned tax as well. I don't know if you were there at Maria's event. I remember. Was she there? Oh, it's the
I
first
am
time.
Aqua Lawson. I
Mm,
run the luxury tax group, and I am a realtor right here in Illinois with Whitehead Realty.
Hmm.
nice.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Whitehead
Just
Realty.
wanna see if like, do you have an understanding what cost segregation is?
It's called segregation, which is why I come here because I don't have the CPA status or the, the, the federal school status, but I go to school every day.
We all do.
It's awesome.
um, Pretty much like say you bought a unit that you're fixing and flipping, you bought all the kitchen package, you want to depreciate all of that for their lifetime. You want to depreciate the roof, things like that, like going through the whole property, not just depreciating the property itself.
Correct.
So all the faucets, the toilet you bought, the cabinetry, you want to depreciate everything in there versus just putting the property on there, and you got the property address right there on the depreciation sheet. And then
Nice.
that's trickling down, but that's the only thing you have on there. And then the thing about depreciation, because I am a realtor, I'm seeing that Like, if you write off all these expenses, you're just writing off the expense of buying a cabbage. You're writing off the expenses for everything. But you just put all these expenses over there, and the underwriter doesn't like that. They're like, you don't have no money at the end of the day.
Right.
But if you put all those things in depreciation instead of expenses, they bring back all the depreciation. So that's one of the coolest tricks. So I like being the bridge between the two.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's why I am somebody who owns multiple properties, somebody who wants to own properties. I am their dream. You're a Debbie, so I mean, we're not playing with taxes. That's how much you pay.
Right.
Until you start buying stuff, that's the only way you're going to shift your income to doing something better.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Start buying property. You don't have to buy it to live in. You don't have to be stuck with a home mortgage for 30 years, trying to pay it down to 15.
Right.
Buy a lot of them, save them, flip them, just keep going. Every time you buy another one, put it in 1031, buy another one, just keep going. And
Absolutely.
You don't have to pay taxes again, probably.
Beautiful. You defer taxes, so yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I have EA license as well. Highly recommend it. So I think you should go for it.
And we talked yesterday about ways to not have to pay taxes at all in your investment properties and how to structure that using opportunity zones and everything else. So, well, good. Yep. So thank you for that. So let's go ahead and let's get. I do want to thank our hosts and our partners who have given us the opportunity to have this place in live. One is Fidelity Title. Fidelity Title was so gracious enough to make this space available for us. So thank you very much to the people at Fidelity Title, as well as Property Pals, Dane Laverty. He made the connection and connected and helped us host this place. So props to both those individuals and both those companies. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. So we just established there is an investment property, what you could do with that, some sort of depreciation. What is that? How, what should be the timeline when we can write off or depreciate the items? That's what cost segregation provides. But we want to break it down to basically this particular example, which we just went over. You have an investment property, a condo. Generally, if it's a residential property, the IRS provides a schedule that you can write off the entire property in 27 and a half years, right?
So can we talk about a few things really quick? So based on that, right? So by writing off the property, it's not the value of the property you're writing off; it's the value of the structure on the property.
Yeah. So I'm getting there. So
sorry.
The property itself, there are a lot of components, right? The IRS just gives a schedule, 27 and a half, right? So that's kind of one of the differentiators between like a tax strategist and just somebody that's just following the code, right?
Yeah.
The piece of land or like the real estate that you have is not only land, right? There are a lot of other components which we spoke about, right? Which is, I don't know, like the wirings, the cabinets, the furniture, doors, those components and the value of the structure, right? The structure, the soil. So whatever the cost of your investment property is, generally IRS says 20% is allocated to the land, soil. The soil does not get depreciated. Rest everything gets depreciated, right? For this exercise or this hour and a half, we're gonna only talk about rest everything else, right? So imagine you bought a property, $100,000 or $1,000,000. You're right off the bat, 20% is gone in land. You cannot depreciate land, right? It's soil. IRS is going to disallow that, right? The remaining generally is split between 27 and a half years unless you identify what are the components of that residential property
Or commercial property.
or commercial is 39 years. So residential or commercial, right? So the years change depending on the type of property.
Okay.
Now let's talk about depreciation, right? Basically, what is depreciation? You bought as we mentioned, $1,000,000 building. IRS cannot let you deduct everything in its entirety, right? 20% gone. Remaining, it's 27 and a half years residential or 39 commercial, which is, it's pretty cool. Like it's divided into multiple slices. And on $1 million building, generally, if there's no cost segregation or any other strategies, you're looking at about $36,000 in deduction per year in depreciation. Now, why cost segregation? That $36,000 a year could be more, provided we do this study that is called cost segregation, and that can help you accelerate those deductions in initial years. Why? Because ideally, the furniture or whatever you have that may not last that long, right? So there's generally no need for, I don't know, maybe a $10,000 piece of furniture to run for 30, 27, 28 years. So there, yeah.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So this is fantastic, right? So you're depreciating it, obviously real estate versus commercial and residential, different years. And so now I'm taking the total value of what it is and depreciating over the course period of time. This is something that confused me. So how is that different than like expensing it? So let's say I went out and I bought the chair or I bought the table. Is that something I can expense right away? Or how does that work? Like I spent $1,000, or let's talk the HVAC system, right? So the HVAC system is 20 years or maybe 15 years lifespan, and I spent $10,000 on installing that, labor and materials. Do I get to expense that right away?
You could, if you choose to. It's not an expense; it's an asset.
Which means I can't realize the benefit of what I spent except for over the course of 20 years or 15 years based on the depreciation model.
Or you could use bonus depreciation, which we spoke about yesterday, which is permanent.
Which is that's setting aside the bonus depreciation and the special moves. I just want to just talk the way it's been happening before all these benefits that we're going
Right.
to talk about. So I've got this $10,000 investment. The only way I could take advantage of it as an expense was if I sold it as my cost basis.
No, you can
That's to my
depreciate
cost.
it. You can expense
Let's say I
it.
sell it though. So this only helps. Does it help if I sell it, or does it help if I hold on to it? Like if I sold this in 5 years, or let's say I sold it. Let's say it's a fix and flip. Does this apply to fix and flips, or is it more about
There's a different calculation if it's a fix and flip because there's something that's called depreciation recapture, depending on the amount you sold it for. A bit technical, not pertinent to this particular uh, topic, but essentially, technical answer is you take the benefit in year one, which is depreciation. You're expensing it on your taxes. If you're selling it, you have to recapture that depreciation expense as a part of your ordinary income.
which reduces my cost basis?
Right.
All right. So then really the difference between so I guess where I was getting confused was expense versus, so if this is like a fix and flip, so I'm fixing it, rehabbing it, and then flipping it all within 3 to 6 months, I'm not doing any depreciation. So which I'm not doing any cost segregation in that regard. This really only applies to long-term
Investment property.
investment property. That is extremely helpful. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
Okay, I just make everybody understood that like fix and flips, you're actually already taking the benefit because let's say you spent 300 grand to rehab the property, you sold it, your purchase price was 250, you spent 300, so now your total cost basis is 550, and I sold it for 750. So that's my $200,000 profit. There's no depreciation, only applies for things that are longer than a year.
Mhm.
Got it. Got it. And here's the cool part. So it can work on a fix and flip. So let's say I buy the property and my rehab takes longer than I expected. Right. So then I'm selling it in 2 years. I can take the depreciation benefit ahead of time now, or would it just wait until really only this only
What does
works if it's long?
depreciation do? The depreciation offsets your income to the property, right?
So only if I'm earning income on the
It's a
property.
non-cash expense. If the property is not placed in service, meaning it's not actively rented,
There's no point.
there's no expenses to be
There's no
offset.
income to offset.
there's no income to offset those depreciation expense.
But can I take that depreciation and use that against a different property?
No.
Hold on. So essentially, I bought the property in 2023, fixed it and with intentions to sell it. Took 2 years to sell it. But when I bought it in 2023, when I filed my taxes, I depreciated everything that I bought. Let's say the whole kitchen package. I depreciated all of that. When I sell it into right now, 2026, my taxes are going to recapture that depreciation
Correct.
for say something that's 5 or 7, that's 5 years, and to recapture it in like toss back 2 years to me, 3 years to me.
It will recapture the same dollar amount which you took as depreciations.
To offset the income you made on that property.
If I took the 100% depreciation,
That 100% dollar amount would be recaptured when you sell it.
unless I have it for the entirety of the lifetime.
Correct. Or you do 1031 or
And the and I think
So the other way around.
Yeah.
1031 to hold the money in there, so you're not taxed on it, and you just keep it.
Yep.
so the other key to
So
his
it's a
piece.
way around everything.
So
Sure.
the other key component I think that's in here is that there has to be income to depreciate against.
Um,
So if there's no income to depreciate against on that particular property, there's no purpose of taking the depreciation.
well, if nobody's rented your house out,
Right.
you bought all of it.
So you need to place that housing service. Yeah. So again, if you bought the house, you're putting money in, maybe it's a reconstruction, the house is not habitable, right? But if it's like minor fixes and the house is not like you were able to rent it for a few months and then the tenants move out, sure.
That's how you offset the income you made from it. Now, can I take the depreciation of one property and offset against the income of a different property?
You can, provided the properties are placed in service, all the properties, So mainly meaning losses from property A can offset profits from property B,
As a
provided
congregate.
right, depending on how the structure is, but if it's a flow through, yes.
Got it. Okay. Well, hopefully everybody got that. Everybody. So ideally, this is really works for long-term ownership of a long-term asset and how to take advantage of what the investment was at the upfront status, as opposed to spreading it out over 30 years or 40 years or 27 years or whatever the case may be. So how can I take advantage of it now?
Right. Beautiful. So
Thank you for clarifying that.
this particular
I'm totally going to annoy Nish throughout this whole thing.
No, this is
So
great.
he's like, right, yeah, okay.
This is great. So yeah, essentially it's a perfect segue. So we know it spreads out over 27 and a half or 39 years. Now let's talk about what buckets we want to have in the building, right? So IRS provides a schedule for pretty much every single, I think this is what we spoke about yesterday, right? You wanted a certain schedule for 5 years, 7 years, 15 years, 29 and 30 years, right? So 5 years, you can depreciate or you can classify carpets, cabinets, lighting, appliances, electric. 7 years would be furniture. Again, this is all given by the IRS. It's all like in the tax code. 15-year is parking lots, sidewalks, pretty much the entire perimeter. And 27 in the year, the actual structure minus the soil, right? So rather than you depreciating pretty much everything over 27, like 2 or 3 decades or 4 decades, if it's a commercial property, you're able to accelerate certain pieces of the actual property, uh, whether it be commercial or residential, right? This particular, yeah.
So I was going to ask a question. So that made me think about it. So let's say I buy a building and there's no rehab. Building is solid, is good to go. There's nothing wrong with it, fully occupied, and it's operating. Okay. I can hire a cost segregation analysis engineer to go in and look at the entire building
Mhm.
and piece by piece, whatever the case may be. And then in my first year, I can apply that depreciation. Let's say my income is $100,000 and I cost segregate and I've got $500,000 of stuff that I can cost segregate now. I can actually offset my entire $100,000 of income, even though I didn't spend a single dime in fixing anything.
Provided the cost segregation study was not done before.
You bought it.
Right.
So you bought it and then did the cost segregation.
Correct.
You guys hearing this? Like, I think, like, for me, I've heard a lot of people and professionals talk about cost segregation, and it always I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool, that's great. I don't know how to apply it, and I'm like thinking from the mindset of I'm rehabbing a property or someone's rehabbing a property, or so I didn't really know how to convey this to my clients as to how to handle it. But this is really where it comes. This is where the capture is. This is why everybody's so excited about it. So you go out and you buy a property that's fully operational, and you don't need to put very much into it. Or maybe you got to put 100 grand into it. But if you have a cost segregation engineer going through it and identifying all the pieces, you might end up with like $1 million
Hmm.
of items that can be depreciated today versus waiting 30 years to depreciate the $1 million, right?
Hmm.
So here's the benefit I'm understanding. I buy a property, I buy it for $5 million. Okay. Totally hypothetical. I've not bought a $5 million property for those who are watching. But let's say I bought one. Okay.
So yeah, we could use this
Oh, there
activity
we
as
go.
an
$2 million
example. Yeah,
apartment
it's
building. I
perfect.
love it. All right. So here's it is. $2 million apartment building, 400 of that is land. So now that leaves $1.6 million depreciable, right? So then I go out and I do a cost segregation study. But let's say on that $2 million building that I bought, it's making $200,000 in income a year. So your income is $200,000. So I'm presuming this is a 10 cap, right? So if you don't know what cap rates are, go back and look at my videos, or stay tuned for the next event. We'll do a cap rate issue on market capitalization and et cetera. But the cap rate is 10%, $200,000 of income. So I have to pay taxes on that $200,000 of income if I don't do this.
Yeah, minus the expenses. So
Minus expenses. Let's say I have property management, blah, blah,
right.
$40,000, $50,000 in taxes, whatever. I'm paying $100,000 of my income has to be taxed, right? So now that I got taxed, and what is that tax going to be on this particular case? It's gonna, let's say regular income, right?
So if it's just $100,000 in profit, you're looking at about 18 to 22% tax bracket plus the state, which is additional 5%.
So we're talking about 30%. So there's 30% of 100. So that's 30 G's. Presuming I have 100 grand in pure profit. We following? It's $100,000 of pure profit I'm making from this property after I've paid all the expenses. And once I have that, I got to go to Uncle Sam and say, "Here you go. Here's $30,000." Right? That hurts. Anybody who did yeah, that
Mhm.
hurts. Okay, so but oh, you're reading. Yeah.
So that's only 160 that 1.6 left over that you can depreciate.
Right.
Right. So now that 1.6 million is depreciable over 30 years, typically
27, yeah.
27 and a half
27,
years.
yeah.
So I'm trying to keep it simple numbers here,
Yeah.
right? So anybody know what 1.6 million divided by 30 is?
We looked over here, Rich, you know I probably know it.
Yeah, the number per. You got to throw that number out.
What you say, 1.6 million divided by 30?
20, yeah. Something like that. So 480. So like maybe I answer C, you know.
Oh, answer C. There we go. About 30%.
Yeah, so it's roughly like 30%.
Oh, you
right?
guess who's already calculated this? Here I am trying to calculate this. I'm so sorry.
So no, that was good. So like so so here's the purchase price, right? So here's the entire like kind of math, right?
That's
so whatever
fantastic.
like whatever your depreciation basis is, initially we established that without us doing anything, we just did the calculation about 480, 500.
Yeah.
But with the study, like you get.
So my normal deduction would have been $58,000
Mhm.
over 27 and a half or whatever years,
Right.
right? So that means I made 100 grand in profit. Then I get to take off $58,000 for depreciation, which means 58 minus 100 is 42, and I got to pay 30% of that, right? So
Yeah, yeah. So like if you do with this cost segregation study, that's again assuming like you're a real estate investor doing very well, you're at the highest tax bracket, which for the folks living in Illinois, I live in Florida, there's no state tax. But if you are in Illinois, there are chances that your tax rate could be about 30, 37%. Well, both, right? So this is both. For purposes of this exercise, this is just federal. The highest tax rate is 37%. So imagining, I mean, I guess really you have to be like loaded to have like a
What's
$2
what's
million.
the income on this base? What are you basing the income on? Like, what's your income to save? You got 188,000.
So this is based off your tax bracket. Assuming this is the highest tax bracket, which like goes if you're making like about 500,000, $600,000, you are at the highest tax bracket. Assuming that that kind of makes sense because you can afford like to buy a $2-3 million property. If you accelerate with the study, you're saving about $188,000 in taxes because instead of writing off 58,000, you're able to write off $500,000.
So let me ask this question. So I'm over here, right? So I've got this $58,000 that I'm writing off. Normally would be every year for 27.5
Sure.
years, and that's going off against the income that I make on this property, right? Now, presuming back to the $100,000, let's say the income profit is 100. I know it's going to be different or whatever, but if I've got 514,000 to depreciate and I only made 100, I don't have to use this whole 514.
It gets carried over for future years. Yeah.
So essentially, if I'm making $100,000 a year, right, in pure profit, I normally have to pay 30 grand or so in taxes. And by taking this depreciation, this cost segregation, I take $514,000 and zero out this year's income, and I still have $400,000 for next year.
Yeah. To offset
And
against
so
the
that's
year.
5 years of not paying any taxes.
Well, it could accumulate, right?
Right,
Yeah.
because-
So yeah.
But I'm just kind of again, I'm keeping this
Yeah.
very very simple because you need a CPA to help you walk through the details. But to understand the benefit of it, if I'm not paying taxes for 5 years and I'm saving $30,000 a year in taxes, that's $150,000 of extra capital that I've got to go into the next project.
Which is, yeah, that's how reinvest, cover down payment, fund the next deal. That's the point. Yep. That's exactly what the point is.
Wow.
So again,
You have to do something there. You cannot just-
so cost segregation is a study, as you mentioned, so we as CPAs, we sign off on the returns. We have engineers in our team that actually go to the property, and with the savings that you're accumulating, that's again your money. I agree. You should reinvest in new projects, but you don't have to. Not everybody thinks like the people they just want to
Save
ball
money.
out or spend it wherever. But essentially, you are having, in this particular example, about $180,000 per year to put money in new project. It's actually down payment, for
Now, if I do this, this affects my cost basis when I go to sell, correct?
no,
Like if I fully depreciated, I got to add that back in later.
which is depreciation recapture. It has nothing to do with cost basis. Cost basis still stays 1.6.
Ah,
Let me go back to the next previous page. Because I don't know what's happening over here. My device is going off.
The what?
My device is starting going off.
Oh, no worries. So just whip out a calculator. Just do 1.6 divided by 27 and a half.
I guess I was getting to the next part, which is
58,000, right? So you understand where this is coming, $58,000. But remember, not the entire property is not spread over 27 and a half years, right? With cost segregation, assuming you're able to identify door structures, I don't know, wiring, right? You could accelerate those depreciation. And this is an average. Like on an average, instead of writing off $58,000, which you just calculated, there is a potential opportunity to shuffle those components within the property, maybe wiring, maybe doors, kitchen cabinets, bathroom,
Plumbing,
tiles,
yeah.
fixtures. On average,
Yeah.
again, this is just illustration, splits on property type. On an average, based on, again, like for me, doing this over a decade, this is what we generally capture in year one instead of this.
What you're saying is, you got this $1 million apartment building, you got 1.6 million left to depreciate. That 480,000 are the components that you walk through depreciated, the kitchen set you walk through
Correct.
depreciated, the doors you depreciated, the wiring,
Which could be reclassified. Yep.
yeah, you depreciated the tiles that you put on the floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much everything. Yeah, yeah.
You depreciate everything.
Everything.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think most I was asked earlier, what's the difference in those things that considered expenses versus depreciable assets? I think the difference is they have a lifespan versus what do you buy for a $2 million apartment building that doesn't have a lifespan?
Correct.
Yeah, and I think the difference that I learned today is that the expenses, if I'm expensing it, really applies to the situation if I'm unloading the property in a short period of time. That's when it really becomes an obvious expense because that was part of my cost basis to acquire and bring the property and
Mhm.
everything. And so then that identifies my final full profit number. But on the depreciation basis, this is a long-term asset that we're holding, and it is generating income in that period.
Right.
So the whole purpose of depreciation is to offset income that I'm making, whether in this project or in my portfolio.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned one of the very interesting points in the beginning. Expense, if you expense
Yeah.
the lenders or the underwriters, they don't like it. But if you're depreciating it,
Depreciation, they will bring you full depreciation.
at the end, it's pretty much the, in layman terms, same thing, right? But the way you play the game is to depreciate it because that gets added back into the calculations what underwriters do.
When they add it to they're adding it into the value of the building, or they're adding it into your
The
equity.
calculation income for lending.
They add it into your income.
I don't know, you have a truck income, you have a fleet of cars, there's 5 cars, that you rent out. When you go to do your taxes, instead of writing each one of those cars off that you bought as expenses, you put them on your depreciation. You don't put them over here on vehicles.
Yep.
Expenses and mileage and gas and stuff. You put the whole vehicle over here on depreciation, right? Probably about $60,000 payments. I have a client that buy $60,000 payments for his fleet. He bought a $5,000 Toyota. Put all of them on depreciation. They have their life expectancy, and because I think it's a vehicle or a rental, like or machinery, toolery, they'll have like a 3 to 5 year
Yep.
Life expectancy. So I mean, if you take the full bonus depreciation at one time, you know, you get all that money back, sell the car in a couple of years, so you certainly can use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting. So then, so for the lender side, I depreciate the asset and not expense it. Then they take the amount that I depreciated and add it back to my income.
Correct.
Yeah.
For underwriting purposes, depreciation is considered non-cash expense.
Power of that.
Yeah.
So now you depreciated $200,000, and instead of being an expense, like okay, that's an expense that your profit
For tax purposes, sure.
fine. And so that's great for tax purposes. And this is one of the challenges that I've always had is people will, especially self-employed, will cut their income down and down and down, so their adjusted gross income goes lower. What ends up happening is they become you can't lend to them. Mm-hmm. The lenders will not lend to them because their income is too low. However, you depreciate that stuff. And so now you depreciate it. You still reduce your adjusted gross income
for tax purposes.
But then the lender comes back and goes, oh, okay, that's not an expense. That is actually a depreciated asset. So then we're going to add that back to your income.
Mm-hmm.
So your entire expense now comes as a depreciated asset, now becomes income. And so now you bring that back forward. So now you become lendable by doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I hope you guys understand what we just talked about because this is powerful. This is powerful stuff. Okay. So, all right.
Beautiful. So,
I was saying, so that same person made 200,000 income, self-employed, 700 plus, whatever. Wrote off, I don't know, maybe 60,000 total in regular expenses like contract labor, supplies, basic stuff that you have to buy for the office.
Sure.
And then added on all 5 vehicles in depreciation. That was like 90,000, 91,000 depreciation. So left over, his income, his AGI was maybe 21,000.
But then you add back the 91%.
$450,000 loan.
Yeah, because you add back that $91,000 on top of that 22. You know. So
That 21, they added back to 91.
yeah.
And now his AGI for lender purposes is 125,000.
So, but did you understand where the calculation was coming from, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Why does it matter now? Like, why are we talking about this? Initially, up until well, last year, bonus depreciation was about to subset, but now with the new law, big beautiful bill, it's actually permanent. So you can, yeah, you can deduct up to 100%, but you have an option, you know. So it's permanent. So it's uh 2026 onwards. It's 100%. You are able to write off 100% as bonus depreciation.
So that's great for anybody dealing with that's for people dealing with portfolios.
Correct. I agree. Yep. Hmm.
That's amazing.
If somebody has 80 plus stores, this cost segregation study can save up to, I promise, we've done that so many times in Florida. It can save up to 6 figures,
Yeah.
maybe more,
Yeah.
in taxes. That's another few properties, you know.
That's not property.
So
They think so.
that is, yeah, that's the purpose of this. You know, that's why it is important. Basically, what we're trying to do, it's the same deduction, but the timing of the deductions. We have, I guess, the luxury to control, right? So that is very important. Just as we can see, you know, with cost segregation, we're able to utilize the expense, larger expense in year one, and then the remainder just kind of spreads out over the year over year, right? So it needs to be discussed, planned properly because there's a cost associated with we're doing this type of study to send engineers and whatnot, but based on the example which we saw, nobody's going to charge you $180,000 to do the study, right? So you do it and you get those benefits, you know, so that you have to do a cost benefit analysis for these studies to make sense.
How many times can you do a cost segregation analysis on a property?
Once. Yeah, yeah,
Unless it changes hands, then you can do another cost segregation.
yes. Or you put in some work, you build it, so it just or kitchen packages. So
Like say the fridge and stove busted up during this storm.
or like renovations. Florida right now it's hurricane season. Like there's a lot of places. Well, this year, thank God, didn't happen. Last year, like a lot of properties were like just basically like damaged, and some of the people had to redo the property. So we are able to do cost segregation there once the rebuild has been done. You know, so
And on top of being that the cost segregation, you have to able to write off that left for this loss. So it's like a double.
so there are some calculations on how much you can write off, like which has changed, like with this new tax laws. But essentially, like there's not much benefit of doing that, you know. Yeah, as a lost item, and then because you're double dipping, you know, you write off as the loss, and then you and depreciate it more, right? So that's that.
You know, like say the this storm just happened, you write off the loss of the one that you're throwing away and you're depreciating the new one that you bought.
Well, if you bought, yes,
Yeah, the new
but
one.
but if you fix the same place, you can. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh sorry, yeah.
Carry the whole new item.
Right.
You can purchase it.
Yeah, new purchase, yes, but if you fix the old spot that was destroyed, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That money will probably go into maintenance. Probably cost you like $50. It's gonna make.
So these are the type of properties that do qualify for cost segregation studies. You know, basically residential apartment, restaurants, medical offices. You know, so things like that. A lot of Airbnbs, which you can consider like short-term rentals. You know, so all these properties do qualify for cost segregation. Needs to make sense. Usually, it does make sense when folks do Airbnb because generally, if the property is being rented for some time, it pays off more than the market rate rent.
The less than 7 days, 7%.
No, well, less than 14 days, it's the Augusta rule. But I'm just saying, like short-term rentals is like Airbnbs. So if you just do Airbnbs all throughout the years and the properties have been rented, right? It just kind of makes sense to do a cost segregation study. Uh, so that's where we're at. So kind of want to have a gauge of these. Let's just go over each and every example and see if it makes sense. So just kind of quick based on whatever like we discussed. Let's go over like the first scenario, right? So it's a $1.2 million fourplex that we brought last year. Do you guys think it makes sense to do a cost segregation here?
Absolutely.
Why?
If it's $1.2 million fourplex we bought last year, you're probably gonna hold that for the entirety. Um,
Think about the income side. So what happens if it's fourplex? What are you getting?
what do you mean?
Like in terms of income, right? There's four properties,
Oh,
like you're getting four rents
we did this yesterday. I was in about at least 2,300 rooms.
times four, right?
Yeah,
So in this particular example, it does make sense because there's,
a
well,
lot of income you guys put in.
a lot of income.
You want to offset income.
Yeah. So it makes sense to spend like whatever, like maybe $5,000, $10,000 in cost segregation to look to wipe out the gain. By the way, that money that you spend to professionals for cost segregation, it's also a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Uh, second example.
If I get somebody and I cost segregate their $1.2 million bill, I need to charge them like that, 10,000.
Oh, easy.
Easy, okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. My price is going to.
Yeah, easy. But think about like it needs. Well, if it's a 1.2, like you're actually saving them about $150,000 in taxes. That's like 10% off, like 10% off the savings, right? Which is now if you charge $50,000, it's just not.
Daycare, anything in the daycare, the beds, the toys. Like, you can put all of this on there.
Yeah.
Save her 150.
All right, let's move on to the next example. Like $180,000 condo, no land, HOA maintained. Like, it, do you think it's worth it to do cost segregation on the second example?
Um, it's a rental unit.
Sure, $180,000 condo.
That's a rental unit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's your purchase. As long as you have it, yeah, it's your purchase. Listen, I don't think anything is too small. Your tax bill not too small.
Well, that's where the study comes in, right? Because would it be worth it to, because you're already depreciating a little bit of this, right? The rents are not enough to pay $5 or $10,000 study to do cost segregation, right? So that's where the cost benefit analysis comes in. If it's just $180,000, just depreciate it. You can write off your utilities, property taxes, and that should offset all the income, right?
You telling me without you really going to cost segregation, you start charging people that 10,000.
So I would encourage that, yes, but there needs to be an engineer to actually visit the property. So if you can build that infrastructure, sure. Like there are just companies that we do, like we partner up or we refer them out because you need to have independence. Like I do cost segregation studies in house, but not for my clients, right? For other clients, like for my clients, we refer them out because I cannot do their cost segregation and sign off on their returns as well. So it needs to be independent.
Yeah, can it be like an independent contract cost segregator?
Sure, but not for your clients.
Okay, okay, I like that.
Yeah, yeah, but not for your tax clients. Not for your tax clients.
I can cost segregate for them, like as we're going through it, I can look at the receipts that they use to buy everything and stuff like that.
You can, but you cannot sign off on their returns.
Mm,
Like, but like, remember, like I'm talking to you now as a tax expert.
yeah,
Like, if you're an
yeah.
EA, like, yeah, if you're an EA, you cannot sign off and do the cost segregation.
If I am an EA, I can,
You cannot.
you can.
No. Like, if I send you a referral from my clients, you could do their cost segregations. Yeah. Beautiful. So, $3 million retail strip brought in 2022. Absolutely no brainer. You should be able to do it. So That's good. So moving on. This is like not a lot of people say that. Like tell you. So these are the three ways that deduction can actually offset your other incomes as well, right? Maybe W-2, like depreciation. You can usually, if you are like somebody just an investor, not a real estate professional, your depreciation can only offset your rental income, except when you're a real estate professional. So you can write off your W-2 as well.
What did you say?
So
I'm sure I know that.
if you have a real estate professional status, so the way depreciation works is you can only write off your rental income, right? If you're an investor. But if you're a real estate professional, you can write off other incomes as well, which is your W-2 income or any other income.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
You're saying if they have their hours or if they have a
Right, right, yeah, yeah. So it's a 750 hours, more than half your time is spent managing the real estate, right? Uh, and it could offset other passive income, which is stocks, market, like whatever, like you're doing, right? So that is kind of important tax strategy, which like not a lot of people. Uh,
That's only 15 hours a week.
mhm,
750 hours.
mhm. Easily doable, easily doable. It's like a weekend.
Yeah.
All right. So what happens if we sell? So we spoke about this a lot, and I think we all do know what depreciation recapture is. Just want to kind of open it up. Do you know anything about it, or do you want to like go over this? Do you understand what depreciation recapture?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Uh, and we will email you the
Oh,
slides as well. But it's good to take pictures.
Right.
The depreciation recapture.
Is that it? There's another
No, yeah, right here. It's like, what happens if you sell? IRS recaptures the depreciation which you already took.
So they took 10 years at 10,000. That's $100,000 they take back.
Mhm.
They add it back to your gross income.
As ordinary income. Yeah. So when you sell it,
oh, say it again.
if you take 10,000 depreciation for 10 years
Yeah.
and you sell in year 11, you're gonna take the $100,000 back as depreciation recapture upon sale.
Oh, because you,
All right, let's
but
do
but you didn't you use it for the lifetime of it, the entirety of its lifetime?
well, entirety is 27 and a half
Oh,
years.
you're saying the property.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
Property. Yeah, yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
this is something that like has a 5 year lifetime.
Yeah. Let's do the math. So you bought $1 million property. Yeah. So you took $100,000 in depreciation, 900,000, right?
You haven't even seen it. You haven't even seen the return, and you know that they took close to $1 million in tax depreciation.
No, no, we're just like we're giving an example.
Oh, okay.
So $1 million, you took 100,000 in depreciation. So what's the basis? 900. You sell it for $900,000. What's the gain? Like, mhm. Well, your basis is 900, and you sell it for 900, 100,000 because you recap 100. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 100,000 because you recaptured that the expense which you've already taken. So now if it's $1 million, so you now same example, and you sell it for 1.2. Yeah, 1.2. So what's the gain now? Sure, but how's that 200 categorized? But what's the ordinary? So two, right? Capital gains and ordinary income. What is capital gain? What would be the ordinary income tax? 100,000, which is the depreciation recapture, and the remaining 100,000 is capital gains, which is taxed at a lower rate. So is ordinary, and the remaining, if it's a 1.2, yeah. So the remaining is, yeah, that is at ordinary rates, which is capped at 15%, depending on the tax bracket. So that's the purpose of depreciation recaptures. And what happens? You sell. Basically, what happens if you, like, people think that, oh, it's too late, you missed the window. It's actually not true. So you can do the studies, you can calculate the catch up, and you can file this form 3115.
I just learned about this form like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah. So you file this form and you attach it to the current return, because you don't have to go back and amend the returns, right? So you can fix it basically. So that's,
And how do I do that?
no, just fill out the form and it goes with your current year tax return.
I mean, I know fill it out with what? The depreciation from that year, so it's the tax time 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And they filed in 150,000, they didn't write off, didn't depreciate anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go back and like,
No, you cannot go back. You can take it off in this year, moving forward.
so add those expenses from June.
Mm-hmm.
So would that person have the 2018 version of depreciation, or are they 100% depreciated because we didn't do the bill?
In this year, and then you can uh, move the expenses that, like, you can carry forward those losses. So it's going to be this year moving forward, not the prior years. If you didn't do it in 2018, you don't lose it. Sure, yeah, you miss it, but you still have the option to capture it this year moving forward. So you don't lose it. You just miss the opportunity. You forgot to do it, and you're just doing it now.
Yes, year. I mean, that year I'm putting up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I add her
You missed the
maybe
opportunity.
$100 backyard playground. I add that to this year, and I probably put next to it.
This form has the entire calculation, 3115. It adds as a supplement to your 1040.
So you put the depreciation on that form.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So moving forward, so now you're gonna get the study, calculate the catch up. We apply it to this year going forward. We file the forms. We get to take the full amount of the deduction in this current tax
This year, yeah.
to essentially wipe out and write off our entire income for that particular property.
And if there's any losses, that gets carried over.
Got it. So does it turn it into a loss, or is it just the depreciation gets broken up into multiple years?
Both. So you can deduct up to certain, like, dollar amount in losses, which is 50,000 single, and double it if you marry together, and the remainder gets carried over to future years. But loss needs to offset some income, right?
And so this applies to whether it's an individual or a corporation that owns it.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Individual corporations, multiple entities, like just anybody, right? So you can just offset. If it's a corporation holding multiple LLCs, you can offset losses from this entity for the profits to the other, and it just kind of flows through in its entirety.
So you're looking at properties that people have bought in the last 4 to 5 years are a great opportunity if they have not done the cost segregation.
Oh yeah.
What is the cost of the cost spec study, on a property? There we go. Thank you. See, look, man, the guy's reading my mind. He's reading my mind. All right. So the cost of the study is about 3,000 to 15,000, depending on the size of the project.
Mm-hmm. 3 to 15 turnaround, usually 3 to 6 weeks. We have to coordinate, make sure the tenants are okay having engineers in this, like in the apartment or house. Typical returns, what we've seen, again, this is like very conservative, but I've seen 15x to 20x. So we're looking at the higher side. As accountants, we got to give like a brief range, but the benefit is at least 10, 15, 20 times multiplier of the investment which you're paying. What does the cost study includes? It's engineering-based component analysis, documentation that follows the IRS audit technique, depreciation schedules, which we do, audit defense in writing, as well as the pictures.
So the engineer does the component analysis throughout the entire building.
Oh yeah, with the pictures and everything. Yep.
And then provides the documentation that the IRS can look and go, oh, I got it.
To us, so we generate all the other documents, and the engineers are my subcontractors, and
So you drop, and then you drop the schedules into
The tax returns.
tax return, so that way when the IRS gets the tax return, they go, "Oh, I got it. Here's your depreciation schedule." That's phenomenal.
along with the pictures and everything.
So this is something that they need to do now
it's never too late.
because we got 3 to 6 weeks.
You turn in the pictures and everything, you send the whole package, like the whole package.
We send it generally to the clients, and we let their CPAs do whatever. Uh, if if we refer them out, we generally attach the entire cost segregation study as supplements to the tax returns.
So
That's my firm standard practice.
if you do, can you do also, like if you did the cost segregation, you can also do the tax return, right? You can do both.
I can do both, but not for my clients. So I can do cost segregation that are not my clients in real estate because you need to be independent.
Because it becomes a conflict of interest. Got it. So your CPA can't do the cost seg analysis. You need someone else to do the cost seg analysis, and then give that to your CPA so the CPA can apply it. Right. And out there, if your CPA doesn't know what you're talking about, fire them. All right. So this is fantastic.
Beautiful.
And I love the watch out for, right? Like, so you've got these softwares that can do it for you. Don't do that. That's going to get you in trouble. Now, in terms of percentages, tell me about that. Like, if someone says, "Hey, look, I'll do your cost seg and I'll take a percentage of your savings,"
Just don't. Yeah.
what's the issue there? Tell me.
They have an interest to falsify the reports, right? So they promise, okay, sure, without even seeing the property. Okay, I can get you $1 million in deductions.
And so they jack up the report for their own benefit, but then you end up with a full-blown IRS audit because they totally screwed up. And your CPA doesn't really know because they're basing it on the documentation from this.
Provided, yeah.
Got
so
it.
Never do that.
Got it. Oh, that's fantastic. I never.
Go to someone's unit versus
The engineers, yeah.
Their Home Depot. You know, when you go to Home Depot, like you have like a report versus that, and versus seeing that report, you can't use that to say, "Oh, okay, this was installed here."
Yeah, I know, because you're
washing machine.
Well, but it's what about the wirings and everything? That
yeah, what she's talking about, like, well, I went and spent this amount of money in the rehab, so I should be able to use that as my cost seg analysis. But I think what it looks like is no. I mean, you may be able to a little bit, but to really fully do it, because there's some stuff hidden. So maybe you put the kitchen in, but did you count the plumbing fixtures?
Right.
Did you do the plumbing installation? So you're talking MEPs, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. You're talking about roof. There's so many things that you may not have done.
Right.
And plus, I guess the problem from the CPA standpoint is you don't have a component analysis. So from the CPA standpoint, yeah, you can have your five and dime CPA guy or person who does, like they call them notarios for the immigration people, right? Where it's the the notary who does your immigration filings, who knows how to fill out the paperwork, but doesn't know how to handle the full blown, things go sideways and ICE is knocking on your door. The notary doesn't help you. So the same thing here. The CPA, without getting the audit guide, right? They're not going to be able to put together the package.
Or they might not be comfortable signing off on the return, right? They're like, okay, what is this report, right?
And if they're just willing to sign off on anything,
that's another red flag. Yeah,
another red flag.
It's another red flag.
Got it. No.
Okay, so cost seg is like legit going through a building versus.
Oh, they come to the house and inspect the house. Yeah.
You have a specific engineer that comes in and itemizes the entire building.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wish I could show you a sample. I have it, but I have like my clients this thing. But if we finish early, I can just redact the names and everything, and I can show you the report.
How are we doing on time?
3:24.
Oh,
all right. So we were an hour. We're just a little over, just under an hour in.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think that's.
Is everybody still awake over there on the webinar side? Are you guys still awake and live? Still going?
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's good.
Very good.
That is good.
Anything in the chat? Any questions in the chat? Can you see the chat?
Beautiful.
But as a producer, I don't think they can see you.
Can y'all see where I said please feel free to drop your questions here?
My man fell asleep. Adnan, you're my only savior out there.
I'm
Juan,
looking at the chapter.
going. Okay.
Beautiful. So there are a few things that you'll hear not true. You know, it's an audit red flag, cost segregation. That is so not true. IRS actually publishes this guide, and you have to kind of follow.
Excellent.
Oh,
So I'm not supposed to I'm
right. So,
saying
well, yeah, and there are a lot of people say that. Like my CP already does that, but they cannot because it's like a conflict, and they might just be depreciating it over 27 and a half or 39 years, right? They haven't identified the components.
That's one of the things that I found, that you have a lot of these professionals that do things that have been doing it forever. And I guess that's one of the things that we talked about this yesterday. For those of you who missed it, you missed a great conversation. But yesterday we talked about it, where we're like, if you got a CPA or professional that is like doesn't want to do it all, that's a red flag. Get rid of them. But if you have a CPA that's doing things without double checking and is not, questioning, get rid of them as well. You want that middle of the road CPA who's going to be creative. And yeah, my CPA is already doing this. I highly doubt it.
Right.
If you have not done a cost seg engineering report, they're not doing it. And it's not for big, like I can rattle off a whole slew, and Adnan, you probably know them as well. Real estate investors, Juan, you as well, and Brandon, like as well, right? So real estate investors who have 20 or 30 residential properties, who are not, and these are long-term um, ownership, right? So they'll own them for 5, 10, 15 years, and they're just collecting income. And I can guarantee that they have not done a cost seg analysis. I actually have a very specific client that I'm gonna connect with you and talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all I agree. Nobody bothers with cost seg because most people don't understand it. They don't understand the mechanics. And then I don't know how your clients are, but my clients, you can't convince them to spend $10, even if you tell them it's going to get you 50 back,
Right.
right?
the
Because
way,
they've never done it before.
absolutely. And I think the way to get them is looking at, well, how much are you paying in taxes? So
Yes.
like I like you and I both know these guys, right? They're like they're penny pinchers. But I think what I would love to do, Adnan, maybe we do this on a side note, but maybe we get them in a room and we talk to them and say, listen, let's look at your tax returns.
I think so.
I think we have another event.
I think if they had a consult with Nish, I think that would sell them on the concept, right?
Right.
Just like
yeah.
half hour, something like that. You do a little seminar with a specific group of people who could use the services. I think it would be game changing for a lot of these guys.
Absolutely. Because I mean, if they're doing it, like I know one guy who's got like 50 properties, and if he's collecting, 2,000, if he's netting profit 1,000 per property a month, and he's got 50 properties, he's netting $50,000 to $60,000 a month. That means he's taking down $600,000 to $700,000 a year. A cost seg analysis on the properties, like one at a time, he would be saving a massive amount of tax liability.
Yes.
Without question.
And he was at that 37% tax bracket, So
totally.
Yeah.
He's getting crushed.
And Nish, this would be if he cannot consume the entire credit in 1 year, he could carry it forward, correct?
You carry it over, or you offset against another profits of another property. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. So I mean, for them, they don't pay the tax now, or maybe it'll also couple for the next few years, it'll reduce their tax load.
Right.
That's completely worthwhile.
Can you imagine if we took those guys and we reduced their tax liability to zero over the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, they'd never leave, right?
They'd never leave. They would never leave.
Well, that's money that they could be spending on closing deals.
Another property.
Yeah. I tell you one thing, they're not learning this in mastery, are they?
Nope, definitely not.
So
couldn't resist the dig.
Let's see if this is worth it for you. Again, we're doing all these, and then I think this is my contact. Just feel free to scan the code.
Please scan this code. And I think what we did was, go to the next few. I think we did a.
Oh, this is your
part.
part.
Keep going.
Oh,
keep going.
Mm-hmm. That's the
it. No, all right. Then go back to your thing. So the reason I thought we created it. Is that your QR code?
I think she did it. So
we created it?
Vera did that.
All right. So I believe that might be a QR code, if I'm not mistaken, that'll take you to our page for contact information. It will also take you to a page. Let's try it. Anybody want to scan that? maybe it's supposed to take you to a page that you can actually schedule an appointment. Or takes it to his website.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. We're trying to get to a point where we.
Oh, it does give the option for the meeting.
Yes,
Oh.
that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
So that page, if you click on, if you guys can scan on your screen, you can actually schedule a time to meet with Nish. He's in town until Saturday. He will do a live in person. You can pay for his consultation fee. Or if you want to do it over webinar, like over Zoom, there's also a chance to link and click and schedule a time to meet with him. So please capture this. We'll make sure we'll spread it out to the world. This is definitely a thing that you want to connect with him on. Yeah, he's got the number of things that he and I have talked about and implemented for our clients in terms of saving money and wiping out tax liability is massive. So I appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Any other questions?
It's good. So you wanna?
Yes. So I'm going to talk a little bit. Some of you know me, know what we do. So EV Haas, we represent buyers and sellers in real estate. We represent people, distressed borrowers in foreclosure. We do foreclosure defense work and building code violations. I got to tell you, municipalities are a real pain in the ass. And we push back against them, right? And sometimes it's a little finesse, sometimes it's a little muscle. One of the things that we also offer with all of our buyers, which has been very successful, is the bifurcation of title. If your buyer is looking to buy a property and they're buying, we offer $1,000 check refund at closing. And so what we do is we take over the title from the seller. Every buyer has the right to pick their own title company. And by them picking their own title company, we will take over that title. And generally the buyer pays between $3,000 to $4,000 in title fees, going off Chicago's rate card, Chicago Title's rate card, or Fidelity. That's Fidelity. And when we do that, we take the title, we bifurcate it, we actually split that. So we'll take a third and we'll give a third back to our client. So that way our client walks away with $1,000 check in their pocket. It's been fantastic. For brokers out there, it is a great way to talk to your buyers. So that way your buyers don't leave you and go with somebody else. Because how many people, I know it's happened to me, where you show 20 houses to someone, I think this just happened to you, you show 20 houses to someone, and then you find out, like, after a couple weeks, you haven't heard from them, like, what's going on? Like, oh, yeah, we put an offer on the property. What are you talking about? You put an offer on the property. How'd you put an offer on the property? We've been showing you 50 houses. And it's because they went with a different broker for whatever reason. And so this is a great way for you brokers to tell your clients, hey, listen, stick with me, stick with my team and my legal team, you'll get $1,000 back. And if you don't stick with my legal team, you miss out on $1,000. It creates loyalty and binds the client back to you so that way they don't run. So try it out. Let's go to the next slide. We talked about municipal code violations, short sales, but here's our contact information. Click on that, take a picture of that. Mahmoud Faisal Elkhatib, bow tie attorney, a shaver wall, CPA, extraordinaire. That's not what the EA stands for. The EA stands for something else. It's an enrolled agent, but he's still extraordinary. This is my contact information. Yes. Yes. I hope you have it. You text me. No. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Which they turned out to be my cousins, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. Great story, by the way. As a side note, she referred a client to me and said, hey, by the way, Elkhatib, I think you know them. Turned out that it was a long lost cousin that we had never met, and we met each other, and my father and his father knew each other 60 years ago. So it was a beautiful connection. Apparently they've been looking for us forever, and they found us. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So very
All
good.
right,
Thank you very
beautiful
much.
guys.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. We'll see you at the next event. Yeah, see, I'm listening on the way there. Getting old. Take care, all.